So wake me up before you go, cause I ain't planning on stitching solo. So let's talk yarn. Where is the yarn? What did we learn this week? This video is a recap of all of the great lessons that we've learned throughout this week. So going back to the very beginning, really quickly, 80% of the stitchers that were surveyed wanted the tangles to be dealt with in balls. Yarn Inspiration said, okay, let's go back to the equipment, let's watch how it's wound and see what we can do to improve our equipment in order to make that happen. And through technology, engineering, and innovation, we now have OGO that's now here. Your OGOs are almost 24 inches long, which solves the problem because when you open it, you just go from the tip. Nice thing about it, you can do the tip on the outside or just reach in on the other side of it and just go from the inside and out. The nice distance of where it's feeding just makes it for a lovely stitching journey. But in that journey, we realized there were some other benefits too. So one of the largest takeaways of this whole thing is about choice. You ever get that say, I wish they would do something about this? That's exactly what's happened here. So when we look at the past, we have our hanks, we have our cones, we have our Ayrton balls, you have your pole skeins, you got your cakes, and now you have the format that is referred to as OGO. So in this format, that's exactly the name. So this is not a ball, not a pole skein, or a hank, or a cake. This is actually an OGO. So that's one of the things. You have a choice now. So they're not replacing your Red Heart Super Saver that you may love. They're actually giving you a choice on having an OGO format and also ball format. The wonderful thing is they haven't changed the yardage, but there's a bit of technology with the OGO, and so that's why there's a small price increase of the OGO series of 50 cents to $1. And the engineering and the innovation in behind the scenes, which you don't see, has what has been improved. And instead of taking away the yardage to match the existing price, they built it into the price. And so therefore they want it to be transparent. I really honestly give them kudos for that. I'd rather have the honesty with that than just being able to sneak a few yards out and just say, yeah, it's the same thing when it's not. So that's wonderful, I think. We learned this week that some retailers prefer their yarn to be pegged or have the option, and then other retailers like to have it so it's sitting up on a shelf. In order to sit up on the shelf, it does need the structure support of this. Who's to say? This is the brand new launch of a brand new product. Things can always change. So it's nice to have that option, and that's why the packaging has been involved. This week, we also learned that there's solids and self-striping yarn shades of Bernat Blanket. You will notice that it starts with a fresh color, goes around, and there's 3 colors per OGO. Really quite cool, a lot of fun. Now the technology is not quite there yet to have a long self-striping yarn in a chenille yarn like this. So the yarn is secured to each other through a weaver's knot as it jumps from one to the other. But if you do color play and all of that, it won't matter to you because you can pull it apart just like we have seen. Speaking of pulling apart, did you see that that can be done? With the self-striping yarns such as Caron Colorama, Red Heart Super Saver, as well as Bernat Blanket, if you don't like the order of the colors that they decided, you can simply open up your OGO, put your fingers in between 2 pieces, and then just pull it apart, and therefore you'll have separate. Now in Caron Colorama, as well as Red Heart Super Saver, it's a continuous strand with a die. So you'll just need to snip the yarn if that's what's gonna float your boat. But this is giving the creativity back to you as a yarn artist to do what you want with the yarn and to play with it in any sequence that you would like. It's called yarn play or color play, and it's actually a lot of fun. I call it doctoring the yarn myself. So my biggest takeaway that I'm like, oh my God, this week was the yarn storage. So I've been bobbing my head up and down like, well, maybe storage is gonna be a problem. All these people are like, storage, storage, storage. I get it, trust me, I collect yarn more than I can ever do. I think they who die with the most yarn wins. Is that the thing? Because I'm winning. And I bet some of you are at home too. So I took a measurement. I got 10 7-ounce balls that matched the Red Heart Super Saver. And then I got the 7-ounce Super Savers and I put those side by side. And I realized for an extra ½ inch of space on the shelf, I could literally get 12 OGOs versus the 10 of the original format. Guess what that means? I got more space. So I'm like, oh my God, that means I can get more yarn. Is that a problem? So I guess in the end, the whole storage thing, I think became like, okay, seems to work for me. So that's okay. Hello, shopping? I know, it was actually scary once I realized that I can get more yarn on the shelf because I know what will happen when I have space on the shelf. Get those coupons, baby, coupons. Watch those sales. Psst. Yeah. Let's talk yarn brands. Let's talk yardage. Get your rulers out. Yeah, awesome. I love this stuff. So what we have is that there's 3 brands. 2 of them are already what we know, but going into an Ogo format. No, they're not replacing your old traditional yarn balls. This is a new option. This is a whole Ogo format. This is like, you know, having your coffee at home or doing it at the coffee shop. Somebody gave me that analogy. It's a great analogy. You can have it both ways and still enjoy the stitching journey. With Bernat Blanket, there are 19 different Ogos. Each have 3 colors, and there's approximately the same yardage for each of the colors that are in the Ogo. So it allows you to kind of plan really good. Best of all, it's the same weight and same yardage as the original Bernat Blanket. So you're not getting less yarn for this new format, but the same yarn, so that you can use your existing yarn plus add in your Ogos for extra creative play. 19 colors. I think that's quite generous and more dangerous if anything. Caron Colorama is our next one up, and there's 12 different Ogos. 3 are solids, 9 are self-striping. The solid colors are just fantastic. They make the self-striping versions actually pop when you use them, so you can mix them together, which is a great option in order to play. Caron Colorama has 5 colors per Ogo. So sometimes the color is divided at the split point, but almost each one of the particular colors are the same yardage, so that you can plan ahead. So it gives you that color play option if that's what you're looking for, or you can just let your Ogo run and just crochet from tip to tip and still enjoy the stitcher's journey. This is a number 5 bulky weight yarn at 228 yards, 6.4 ounces, and a brand new line with Yarnspirations. Last but not least are 2 different versions of Red Heart Super Saver in Ogo format. There are 15 different options altogether. 8 are solids, and those are your traditional Red Heart Super Savers in the 7 ounce, which is the 364 yards. Yes, it looks like it's different, but it's actually a fact the same weight and the same yardage. In the striping format, it's the same as the original striping format of 236 yards and 5 ounces. And wait till you see the projects that you can do with the striping version, and then even mix it with your solids. I think honestly it's just yarn play waiting to happen. And I think it's great. I like having choice. So where are you going to get hooked up with this yarn anyway? Well, all choices will be available at yarnspirations.com, but each one of the retailers has something slightly different. And remember, Michaels and also Walmart are both Canadian and on the US side, so they're going to be available on both sides of the border. So for Bernat Blanket, you'll be able to find that at all of the major retailers such as Walmart, Joann, and Michaels. And then we have Caron Colorama that'll only be available at Joann. And then the Red Heart Super Saver versions of the 5 ounce and the 7 ounce will be available at Walmart. Unfortunately, the pandemic has a harsh reality when it comes to the supply chain. Yes, there is still slowdowns. Some stores have reset because they've already received their stock, and other stores are still waiting. We just have to be patient and let it work its way through. I know it's inconvenient, I want it now, but you can also turn to the online in order to have it shipped to you as well. So I'm going to give you a message, but I want to get my show side off of myself and go back to my everyday self. I just want to take a moment and say, it's been a true privilege to be able to see something new. All of us are in a moment of history when yarn balls are actually changing its shape in order to accommodate. I didn't even think that would even be possible. And you kind of wonder in your head, could it ever be done? And here we are. Mark this moment as a history-making moment, because you're going to see Ogos in the future. And this is the very moment of transition and when it happened. And I think it's pretty awesome. I also do think it's awesome that Yarnspirations listened to the public to be able to change something that is kind of like a pet peeve for some people. Other people, maybe not so much, but it's nice that they're giving us a choice. So to have the ball or the Ogo, it's just nice to be able to experience yarn and have it kind of our way in a choice. That's what it all comes down to. And I think sometimes we're kind of spoiled that we have more choices than we realize when I really truly think about it at the end of the day. So it's on behalf of Yarnspirations.com as well as ourselves here at the Crochet Crowd. It's been a really interesting week to be able to watch history unfold and to be part of the stitching journey with you. On behalf of my friends at Yarnspirations as well as here at the Crochet Crowd, thank you so much. It's been a fabulous week, and we hope that you're celebrating the launch of Ogo because you'll see this in the future for years to come. Have a good one, and we'll see you again next time. Bye-bye.